हेलो दोस्तों, स्वागत है आप सभी का हमारे चैनल इग्नो सेंटर पर। तो दोस्तों, आज का जो हम सॉल्व असाइनमेंट डील करने जा रहे हैं वो MAG06 का सॉल्व असाइनमेंट रहेगा, जो कि जुलाई 2021 और जनवरी 2022 वालों के लिए रहेगा। तो दोस्तों, ये जो सॉल्व असाइनमेंट है, हमने आपको फर्स्ट क्वेश्चंस जो है और सेकंड क्वेश्चन जो है वो पार्ट 1 में ख़त्म कर दिया था। और जो आपका फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन था वो था कमेंट ऑन द थीम ऑफ वेल्सी स्टेवन पोएम द एम्परर ऑफ आइसक्रीम। और जो नंबर 2 पर था डिस्कस द नैरेटिव स्ट्रक्चर इन हकिलबेरी फाइन, ये डिस्कस कर लिया है। और अब जो डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं वो क्वेश्चंस आपका रहेगा attempt a comparative reading of a clean well light placed and the beer, और नंबर 4 discuss the scarlet letter as a romance novel। तो दोस्तों, जो क्वेश्चन नंबर 4 है ये आप VIP क्वेश्चंस पर टिक कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि ये क्वेश्चंस बार बार रिपीट होते रहते हैं। तो दोस्तों, और इसका एक और पार्ट बनेगा जो कि पार्ट 3 रहेगा, जिस पर हम क्वेश्चन नंबर 5 डिस्कस करेंगे। तो दोस्तों, बढ़ते हैं हमारे क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 के सॉल्व असाइनमेंट की तरफ। तो दोस्तों, क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 आपने नोट कर लिया होगा, और इसका जो आंसर है वो अब हम आपको बताने जा रहे हैं। तो दोस्तों, आपका क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 था attempt a comparative reading of a clean well light place and the beer, and the answer for this question is a clean well light place and the beer. Both the stories are different from each other. A clean well light place concerns itself with the fact of an old man and force on the time duration of 4 hours, and is only 4 pages long, while the bear is a story of a growing of a boy and focus on the 10 years of like life and fairly long. The story of a clean well light place is simple yet complex. Action wise, nothing much happen. When she and old man sit alone at night in a cafe, he is deft and like when the night grows still, two waiters watch the old man carefully because they know he won't pay if he gets too drunk. One waiter tells the other that the old man tries to kill himself because he was in despair. The other waiter asks why he felt despair, and the first waiter says the reason was nothing because the man has a lot of money. The waiter took the empty table and the old man who sit in the shadow of a tree. They see a couple walk by a soldier with a girl. One of the waiters say the soldier has better be careful about being out because the guard just went by. The old man traps his glass against its saucer and asks the younger waiter for a brandy. The younger waiter tells him he'll get drunk, then goes back and tells the older waiter that the man will stay all night. The younger waiter says he never goes to bed earlier than 3 a.m. and that the old man should have killed himself. He takes the old man and his brandy. As he pours it, he tells the old man that he should have killed himself, but the old man just indicates that he wants more brandy in the glass. The younger waiter tells the older waiter that the old man is drunk, then asks again why he tried to kill himself. The old waiter says he doesn't know. The younger waiter asks how he did. The younger waiter says he tried to hang himself and His Nicey found himself and got him down. The younger waiter asks why she got him down, and the older waiter says they were concerned about his soul. The waiter speculates on how much money the old man has and decides he probably aged 80. The younger waiter says he wished the man the old man would live so that he can go home and go to bed with his wife. The older waiter says that the old man was married at one time. The younger waiter says a wife wouldn't do him any good, but the older waiter disagrees. The younger waiters point out that the old man has his nicety, then says he doesn't want to be an old man. The older waiter point out that the old man is clean and drinkly, drinks neatly. The younger waiter says again that he wished the old man would live. The younger the older man indicates that he wants another brandy, but the younger waiter tells him they're close. The older man pays and walks away. The older waiter asks the younger waiter why he did not let him drink more because it is not even 3 a.m. yet. And the younger waiter says he wants to go home. The older waiter says an hour doesn't make much difference. The younger waiter says that the older man can just drink at home, but the older waiter says it is different. The younger waiter agrees. The older waiter jokingly asks if the younger waiter is afraid to go home early. The younger waiter says he has confidence. The older waiter points out that he also has a youth and a job, whereas the older waiter has only a job. The older waiter says that he'd like to stay at cafe very late with the other who are reluctant to go home and who need night during the night time. The younger waiter says he wants to go home and the older waiter remarks that they are very different. The older waiter says he doesn't like to close the cafe in case someone needs it. The younger waiter says there are bars to go to, but the older waiter says that the cafe is clean and will eat lit. They wish each other good night. The older waiter continued thinking to himself about how important it is for a cafe to be clean and well lit. He thinks that music is never good to have at a cafe and that standing at a bar isn't good either. He wonders what he's afraid of. Deciding it is not fair but just a familiar notice. He says two prayers but substitutes nada, Spanish for nothing, for most of the words. When he arrives at the bar, he orders a drink and tells the bartender that the bar isn't clean. The bartender offers another drink but the waiter leaves. He doesn't like bar, preferring cafes. He knows that he will go home and fall asleep when the sun comes up. He thinks he's just an insomnia, a common problem, while the bear has a proper story. The bear primarily recounts to the adventure and exploits of an annual late autumn hunting expedition in the wild land of the Tolhechai River region in mythical Yukna Patwap country, told from Like's perspective in simple, straightforward language. The narrative is divided into five sections. The first three sections comprise an account of the pursuing of legendary old Ben, a huge and exclusive ancient bear with a multilayered paw. As the tale unfolds, the adolescent like learn to hunt under the guidance of expert tracker Sam Fathers, a noble hunter-man who is the son of Chickasaw Indian and an African slave. Sam also trains a fierce woodland dog called Lion, and together they track Old Ben. When the dog eventually engages, the bear is in a death struggle in the third section. However, another part Indian member of the hunting party, Bone Hoganbeck, enters the fray and sees Old Ben with a knife jab to its heart. Simultaneously, Sam suffers a seizure and later dies. Fatally wound, wooden, the dog dies as well. At this point, the hunting narrative breaks off and a seemingly different one being omitted from the version of the bear that appeared in book Bigfoots, 1955. Paulker's last story collection published during his lifetime. The fourth section is a lengthy, convoluted dialogue between Like and his cousin Carruthers Cass Edmund, in which Like repeated his inheritance of the MC clashing plantation upon discovering miscegenation and incest in his family history, written in a complicated stream of consciousness style. For example, one long passage tolerating more than 1800 words and spanning several pages incorporated quote matter and several paragraphs yet contain no period, no capitalization to indicate the start and end of sentence. The fourth section begins when Like is 21 years old and outline the social responsibility and inheritance guilt attached to his grandfather's legacy. The final part of the bear resumes the hunting narrative when Like returned 2 years later to the place where Lion, Old Ben, and Sam died. He experienced an emotional revival on the immortality of all life after he pressed deep into the woods and encountered Boone, who hysterically ordered Like to leave him alone beneath a tree swarming with squirrels. Hemingway scholars have commented on the presence of three characters in different stages of life as an allegory demonstrating the progression of an individual outlook on life as the individual gets older. At the first, individual life confidently and unthinkingly accepting the conversation of job and family as sufficient to give meaning to his or her in case his life, but as he gets older he begins to question the type of meaning that have been imposed on his existence and find them hollow. He may attempt to impose his own set of meaning and value on himself, but ultimately, Hemingway implies he will fail and slip into the realization that life is nothing and he is nothing. Once this realization is reached and he grows old, he falls into despair at the nearest of death and the futility of his life, and may well choose to end his existence on his own terms rather than wait for events to overtake him. Perhaps with this choice, he finally able to take some control over his destiny. The words and action of the Middle Age waiter from the basic philosophical structure of a clean, well, light placed, but Hemingway sharply contrasts his belief with those of the other two characters, the young waiter and the old man. Unlike the middle-aged waiter, the young waiter is in a hurry. He has something to live for, namely getting home to his wife. He has everything: youth, confidence, and a good job. He seems to have everything going for him and retain his purpose in life. He does not seem to understand the depression that has overtaken his college years, nor why his college is drawn to the clean, well light cafe. The old man is at a different stage of his life from both the young and middle-aged waiter. He has already tried to his own life once because he was in despair over nothing and thinking stay drinking late at the cafe because he does not want to go home because he is lonely. Hemingway does not give the reader as much insight into the old man, though, as in those of the two waiters, so it is difficult to say whether the old man disappear is of the existential nihility variety or it is due to death in life or any number of other depressing occurs. On the other hand, nothing the nothing that he is in despair over echoes the nada of the Middle Age. Waiter later solitude and suggests that the old man has simply gotten tired of the futility of existence and that's why he attempts suicide. The characters in the beer are different, constructed with the wild Solomon primal forest in the story is the dry, orderly human commissary where Isaac readers Buck and Buddy, older leader, and the imprints on a sense of evil of land ownership and the rap thing that justify it when he rejects his birthright, resenting even the idea that it is his birthright by refusing to inherit the plantation. He does so both because of his experience in the wilderness and because of his sense of the evil that stem from ownership. In his argument with MC Claston Edmonds, Isaac tracked the curse of ownership from biblical parables to European history to the institution of slavery and the downfall of the South during the Civil War. He said that he will be free, and in this moment, old Ben become in a memory a symbol of a wild Parsi freedom so near to defend itself that it constantly threw itself into harm way simply to accomplish the defense. In this way, old man become a symbol both of ultimate nature and of some principle of freedom and independence. In the human spirit, Isaac, whose feelings from the thematic center of the novel, had earlier believed that killing the bucket required him to make his life worthy of what he had taken from the animal he hunted. Now the spiritual internalization of old Ben enabled him to make his life worthy of the great bear, indomitable will, and of his death. In any event, Isaac remained morally committed to nature and to hunting. In his final trip to the camp, he sees a giant rattlesnake that seemed to be the same kind of manifestation as the giant bug in the old people, and like some father with the bug, he calls it grandfather in rejecting the patrimony of Catholic's MC classing. Isaac reaffirms his acceptance of the patrimony of nature. The first most obvious contrast between two short stories is authorial style. Hemingway writes short sentences that are enhanced by metaphor, symbolize, and imaginary. His sentence tells as much as about the story indirectly as they do directly. For example, Hemingway opening description of the deaf old man provide a metaphor to support his thesis that life after the worry of youth is gone is nada and nothing. It is also provide for shadowing of the old waiter solitude and solitary experience with seeking dignity and die and detaining and lying in a sleepless bed, which so sharply contrast with the younger waiter from bed. Falker, on the other hand, write long sentence. For example, consider his second paragraph. He had listened to it for years. The long legend of cornicreeps refilled of suits and grown pigs and even claves carried bodily into the woods and devoured of traps and death falls overthrown and dogs mangled and slain and shotguns and even rifle changes delivered at point blank range, and when no more effect than so many pills brought through a tube by a boy, a corridor of wreckage and destruction beginning back before he was born, though which sped not fast but rather with the ruthless and irresistible deliberation of a locomotive, the saggy tremendous shape. While Falker's sentence make us use of imaginary, the ruthless and irresistible deliberation of a locomotive, they rely much less on metaphor and symbolism than do Hemingway's sentence. The most obvious way in which the stories are comparable is in the tone. Both story expresses existential against with tones of dependency and extensional despair, though folklore story adds a raw brutality of tone, of traps and death for overthrown and dogs mangled and slain. It is it was all or nothing, and A man was nothing too. It was only that Hemingway, a clean, well light place. He was 10, but it had already begun long before the day was when at last he wrote his age is 2 fingers, and he saw for the first time the tremendous bear with one trap ruined foot. Flouker the bear. So friend, till here we completed our question number 3, because it was become too long, more than 25 minutes video. So we continue our question number 4 and question number 5 in the next part of the video, which was discuss the scarlet letter and how is nature present in white man poetry discuss. So friend, it was not that much long, so we make on our next video. Thank you, and be with us in our next video, which was part 3, where we going to deal with our question number 4 and question number 5. If you are new to our channel, please make subscribe to our channel and press like thumb, because it was hard to make such type of long video. Hope you all understand the efforts and help me to grow on my channel, and also help to grow yourself by doing your assignment in time and submitting it in time. Thank you.